Happy hump day, ladies and gentlemen. We got early morning baseball. We got a three-gamer today, so we're going to just do one video for everybody today. If you want all the full-length videos, though, hey, link to the website is below. Just three games today, so there's a write-up, but I'm assuming you'll get that bad boy down pretty easily because there's only three games.
Yeah, exactly. Shouldn't take me too much longer to finish it. Man, I'll save this, though. For a three-gamer, it's a fun one.
So, correct me if you think I'm wrong here. I'm just going to assume that chalk pitching is the top two guys.
Yeah, I agree with that. I definitely, for me, it's Sonny Gray is the lock.
Okay. I'm a Sonny Gray fan. Pittsburgh has done a couple of my pitchers dirty lately, so I'm a little bit more nervous than I probably should be. But he's the highest upside guy here. He's the best pitcher, even though Taijuan Walker's numbers are better than his this year. So I struggle to get away from the top two. The only other guy I feel like I can really make a rational case for is Matt Harvey. But I know your Mets, they're not a very good offense, but they don't strike out much either.
No, but on this small slate, I'm fine. If Harvey pitches well but doesn't strike out a ton, I think that'll be just fine. So I think he's definitely worth looking at here. He's been solid this year. And, going back to his old stomping grounds, I'm intrigued, if nothing else. I know I got a couple messages, when I woke up this morning, about Harvey in New York. So I think people are looking at it, but I ultimately don't think people will land there, especially with Taijuan Walker coming off that amazing start.
Yeah, and against Baltimore. Baltimore is one of the worst offenses in baseball. Home pitcher and everything like that. I just got to assume that Walker and Gray, out of the 200% that the two pitchers take, I'm assuming these two take about 150% of that.
Haven't done the math yet, but yeah, I have maybe 140, but somewhere around there, I'm with you.
Sure, it could be 160, it could be 125, but it's going to be, to me, relatively overwhelming would be my guess. Zach Davies, I've watched this guy pitch for years when he was with the Brewers. He's all right, coming off his best start. He is not missing bats this year, though. I mean, when your season high in strikeouts is 4, it's tough. Oh, no, I take that back, 5 in the opener. It's really tough to get excited about this one.
Yeah, Cleveland bats definitely in play here.
Yeah, he's coming off his best start, but he still doesn't strike anybody out. Cleveland's also a low strikeout team. If he pitches really well today, I still struggle to see him get over 20. And if that's he's got his A stuff.
I see that, but kind of the same point I made about Harvey, though. If you think he pitches well, I don't think you need the upside today.
Yeah, for me, if you're pitching these guys, it's not so much that you expect a lot out of them. It's that you think either Gray or Walker's going to have a bad day.
Yeah, for sure. Or you want to get up a little bit to offense. I'm with it.
I don't know. Sam Henches, or how do you pronounce his last name?
I'm pretty sure you got it right.
Okay. Limited pitch count. I don't know. It's a struggle to get there. Trevor Cahill. I feel like this guy's been in the major leagues for a really long time.
Yes, he has. I think I would use him over Henches, or I think for me it would be the list is Gray, Walker, Harvey, Cahill. I might have Walker switch just because of ownership.
At least for Cahill, Cincinnati strikes out a decent amount.
For sure. We've seen him pitch well before.
He's not incapable.
He's one of those guys you got to close your eye. If you roster him, just close your eyes and pray.
Hey, man, everybody on this roster is kind of those guys. Usually Gray's all right, and Walker's having a nice season. But even this is not Jacob deGrom and Max Scherzer.
No, but I feel a lot better about those guys than Trevor Cahill.
Truer things have never been said. Well, that's an opinion, so I guess technically it's not true. But your opinion is right, if we can ever say that.
Thank you. I don't know. Walker was really good last time out. I do think that he's probably going to get too much ownership, based on the slate. I think Gray is just a better pitcher than Walker. Not even close right now. I'm a Walker fan, but Gray is a whole letter grade above Walker, in my opinion. I know Walker's coming off that good start, but if I can only choose one of these guys, it's definitely Gray.
Okay. He's having an admirable season.
Definitely. He was really good last time out. Really good.
Yeah, and Baltimore's not good, so it is a solid plus matchup and everything like that. So I don't know. I think these two are chalk, and I'll probably just play one lineup during this day slate, and I'll probably just ride with these two. If you want to get crazy and think one of these guys has a bad day, it sounds like that would be Walker for you. I can understand that. The only reason I'm with you, but not 100%, only because I've had Pittsburgh blow up a few of my pitchers over the last couple of weeks, so I'm a little gun shy, probably more than I should be.
Yeah, I get that. I know Hendricks, they ruined him the other day, so
They've had some feisty performances. Now they're a bad offense, but they have some games where they're feisty and they don't strike out a ton.
no, they don't. Like on a normal slate, I wouldn't be talking Sonny Gray like how I am now, but because of this particular slate, I mean, and that doesn't mean like he's definitely going to be the best pitcher, but I just think, on paper he is.
You think Cincy's the chalk offense?
I hadn't really, I'm not sure because I do think that Cincy, Cleveland, and Chicago all look good. And then people like picking on Matt Harvey, so I'm not sure about the Mets. That's why I think this slate is fun to break down because the only offenses that I see that I don't think will get any love are Pittsburgh and then Baltimore.
I tend to agree with that. So let's break them down team by team. Let's start with the New York Mets going up against Matt Harvey. Impressed is an aggressive word to say with Matt Harvey, but he's been all right this year, right?
Yeah.
Like we're used to him being a gas can. He's been all right.
I don't think impressed is a bad word at all based on what we thought he would be coming in. I mean, he hasn't been like impressive compared to the Matt Harvey of old, but he's been much better than I thought he would be. I mean, I know I was all over stacking against him. He's been, I feel like a guy in the past couple of years where I've had a ton of success. Like every time I've stacked against him, not even that I would stack against him all the time, but when I would, it would work. I stacked against him a couple times earlier in this year. It didn't work. He's been, as you said, impressive. That said, part of me still does feel like the Mets are in play here.
Oh, for sure. Specifically your boy Francisco Lindor. We called him out, whatever it was, 4 or 5 slates ago. He hit his second home run of the year. He's got 2 hits and stole a base the next day. He hasn't been amazing the last 2 games, but he hasn't struck out. He's walked and had a hit in each game. I could, even if it's just a one-off, you can play a guy like that. Like he works.
The point you like to make, like I know you'll get on board with this. They just faced John Means yesterday, who was, he didn't last as long as he did the game before because I think he had to hit, but completely different pitcher in Matt Harvey. Means is better than Harvey. Almost like there's almost like a breath of fresh air after yesterday for them. And they got going late. Like I could see the Mets if they're not. I'm not sure what the ownership's going to be like. I've been thinking about that all morning.
I guess you. Alonso's not having a tremendous year, but we know he's got power for days. Probably wouldn't be a top priority for me. But then also like VR in the middle of the lineup.
Yeah, interesting to see what their lineup will be today with McNeil day today, which I didn't even notice.
Yeah, VR is playing most days lately. He walked a lot, so he's seen the ball all right. We haven't seen a lot of monster games out of him, but we know VR is probably a better fantasy player than real life player.
Definitely. I mean, he runs and he has power. There's a chance he could be like on top of the lineup today. If McNeil is out with Nimmo already out.
Yeah, that's a good point. He could definitely be the leadoff guy today.
I like the Mets like more than you do, just in general. So I'm always going to be drawn to them. So sometimes I'm not sure if it's like irrationally that I'm drawn to them or not.
Well, I think the names on their team aren't terrible. It's just that their offense this year has not been very good.
Fair enough. I have zero arguments with that.
So I can't imagine VR doesn't make the lineup today.
Agreed. I mean, it's just a matter of how high he's in the order. And I know yesterday he was like 5th or 6th, so probably 6th. So we'll have to see.
All right. So my first gut instinct when I opened up this slate was that Cincinnati would get a decent amount of love today. And there's some good plays on this game, decent plays. Like our boy Jesse Winker, one is having a great season. He's also red hot right now. He hits near the top of the lineup every single day. He's expensive, but he's earned every dollar of this price tag. I think he's one of the top overall bats on this one.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, he looks good. Cincinnati stack looks good. Yeah, I don't think that they stand out to me over like the teams in the next game or even the Mets, but I get it. And I have I don't know. I think all these offenses are in play, and the Reds look good too.
Senzel started to get hot the last couple days, and he's really, really affordable. He bats leadoff a lot of days.
Yeah, and he's good. And he also was hitting into, his first 2 at-bats in that 14-1 real hard outs.
Still not having a great season, but Moustakas has power.
I saw their lineup dropped
Yeah.
maybe before we got on air. So
Senzel, Winker, Castellanos, Moustakas, Naquin, Suarez. I mean, specifically the top 6, I think they're all solid plays. My favorites are going to be Senzel, Winker. And I don't know. Castellanos is expensive, but he's a really good hitter.
Yeah, they have good hitters throughout their lineup mostly. And man, I'll say one thing about Sonny Gray. Like that Pittsburgh lineup just came out. That is a pathetic lineup. Go if you want to go look at that real quick. I mean,
it is. There's no other way to frame it than it's a bad lineup.
It's that lineup right there might be worse than like the lineup the Tigers throw out there normally.
It's like it's the Oklahoma City Thunder of Major League Baseball.
Yeah, I mean they don't even have some of their regulars in. Brian Reynolds, Moran. Oh God, that lineup's awful. So that just makes me like Gray more. Not that like he couldn't get hit, but
Here's a question for you. In our drafters draft yesterday, you drafted Harold Ramirez really early. Was that on accident?
No, that was on purpose because he was the only DH that was actually going to play.
Ah, okay. I got you. Okay.
And I didn't know if anyone else noticed that. And my thing is I missed out on another stud hitter, but there's stud hitters all over that draft. And I thought that, if he hit a homer, everyone else at DH was going to get 0.
I got you. J-Ram, solid play top to bottom.
I thought you were going to ask me when I drafted him, his picture showed up as Hanley Ramirez.
Didn't know. I was just kind of surprised you went there that early. I didn't realize the DH thing.
Yeah. Man, I think the Indian stack is in play. I think the Cubs stack is in play. This game, I don't know, is definitely in play in my mind.
Now, as far as the Indians go, J-Ram's obviously your top option. I think everybody knows that. Cesar Hernandez is coming off a couple of nice days, and he's a professional hitter. And then we're going to get, Reyes, who's a big upside guy, and Eddie Rosario. Again, not having a great year, but we know he's a pretty good hitter, and he's had some nice games recently.
I have to imagine that I already thought Jose Ramirez was going to be chalky because he seems to always be chalky in slates like this. And with Rosario right there, I think the Indians get a good amount of love in the middle of their lineup.
And as far as Cincy goes, you got Suarez and you got Moustakas right there, but they can both be played at other positions if you really want them in a stack. So that makes sense.
For sure. I
think the Cubs don't really have a great third base option either.
No, now that Chris Bryant's not there anymore.
Yeah. So I think I saw the stat yesterday that Baez, his walk to K ratio is the worst in baseball of all time. It's 44-3.
Wow.
That's terrible. He might be out of the lineup again today too, huh?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess he got scratched yesterday. I would kind of assume he doesn't play, so that definitely hurts their lineup.
Yeah, only he's tough to get to too at 5,800, so he would not be a priority for me. Chris Bryant under the weather, so
wow.
I mean, I think he's a top bat if he's in there, but man, the Cubs lineup all of a sudden looks bad. Marisnik, who was having a solid year, is on the IL. Ian Happ is on the IL. You may get no Chris Bryant and Javier Baez today. If the Indians had any decent pitcher going that was going to pitch for more than 60 pitches, I'd be very, very interested.
Agreed.
However, I don't think the Cubs get much love if their lineup's really watered down.
Yeah, I know.
All the big names are gone.
Most of the big names are gone, yes. But I still would have some interest in Rizzo Contreras. Those guys are good. I think I like the Cubs here. Man, I'm a little torn because their lineup looks so weak. But
Matt Duffy's not terrible, but doesn't run much. Doesn't have much power. It's hard to want to get to him at 4,100.
No, he is not a great fantasy player. When he was 2,300, he worked.
Yeah, J-Ram is going to be big chalk today.
Right? Big chalk. He always
like
small slates. Yeah. He looks really good here.
However, just to be different, I mean, I'm going to assume cash games J-Ram is like 80, 90%, and then GPP is probably still like 60.
Maybe higher because of what you said about the position flexible. Like you can roster J-Ram, Suarez, and Moustakas if you want.
You can, but also like I don't even really like those guys that much. So J-Ram's going to be fade at your own risk. Don't fade in cash games and fade at your own risk in GPPs because he is far and away the best option at third today, even though he is $1,000 more than everybody else.
Yeah, he is far and away the best option at third. I mean, he's probably the best overall hitter option on the slate.
Especially if Chris Bryant's not in the lineup.
Yeah, I mean, I think him or...
I mean, the only other guy who's got his type of production is Jesse Winker, and I don't know. His Winkers might be hitting for better average this year, but J-Ram's also done it for a lot longer. He's the best hitter on the slate, no questions.
Yeah, I will say one thing about Pittsburgh, like especially on a small slate like this, they're really cheap. So if you want to like even with Gray, use like Polanco at 2,600 as a one-off, or like their leadoff hitter Tom is 2,100. He's not good, but he's leading off on the road or at home at 2,100. Like I don't know.
Yeah, Polanco has never amounted into the guy they wanted, but we bring up the same thing with him every single time. He still has power and he still runs. He's been out for a little bit with some COVID stuff, but came back yesterday. Now he's batting cleanup today. He had 2 stolen bases in his previous 4 starts prior to that. He's not a great hitter, but he's 2,600. He does do the things that DK rewards, so that would be a one-off I could definitely get on board with. Price considered. Ben Gamel, 2,500.
Yeah, all those guys are so cheap, and they're gonna get none of them are gonna get love because Gray's gonna be really chalky, and like you don't need the salary.
I think Wilson Contreras will be your top option at catcher if he's in the lineup. Other than that, I'll probably just look to pay down here as much as possible. Tucker Barnhart's not a terrible hitter.
And all of a sudden, if Wilson Contreras is not in the lineup, like, I mean, that lineup is like him and Rizzo are like the guys they need to be in there, in my opinion.
Yeah, I will try to pay down at catcher, whatever that ends up being on the day, just so I can get the guys I want, the Ramirez's and the Winkers of the world. At first base, it's another not very sexy position.
No, although it's more sexier, I should say. I mean, you got Moustakas, you got Rizzo, Alonso. Well, none of the guys from – there's no Cleveland guy. There's no Cincy guy, really. And I know those are the teams you kind of like.
Yeah, and two of the best first basemen, Alonso, Mancini, are expensive, and against the pitchers most people are going to be using.
Well, Alonso's not, but he's expensive.
Oh, yeah. My bad. Brain fart right there.
I wonder if that makes Alonso get love here.
Could be. I mean, sometimes just process elimination. At second base, the 2 guys I would be most interested in, probably Cesar Hernandez from your team or Jonathan Villar or Senzel, that you can play at second or outfield.
Yeah, I got to imagine that Cesar and Senzel are the guys that get all the love there.
Third base, we mentioned Ramirez. At shortstop,
man, I think the Mets will get love because like they stand out a little bit.
I can get that. Lindor, Suarez, Galvis.
I don't think Baltimore is the craziest play on the slate either.
No. Let's see here. You know who is having a nice year for Baltimore? They're not a good offense, but Cedric Mullins is having a hell of a season. So I could definitely one-off him too, even if you're using a Walker.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say something about Michael Lorenzen being priced $4,600.
Yeah, whatever. He doesn't even play.
This is definitely a slate where I think that leaving salary on the board, not like when I say this, like I want people to understand, like I don't go out of like I'm not making lineups intending to leave salary on the board. I just don't care. So if I make a lineup that has salary on the left, it is what it is. So in tournaments on a slate like this with tons of cheap guys and not even expensive pitching, very likely I could have salary left on my table today.
Makes sense. So Yeah, talking this through, depending on what the Cubs lineup looks like, which looks like it's going to be weak, I assume the chalk offenses are going to be Cincy, Cleveland. It's all about Ohio today.
Yep.
Little Mets, too, depending on what their lineup looks like as well.
Yeah, well, the thing about the Mets is I think they just have the most attractive players in a lot of positions, like Lindor, Alonso. So it's going to inherently give them love.
Amen. All right, guys. Wish you all the best of luck today, and we'll talk to you about some other sports a little bit.
Thanks, guys.